Hey, what's going on, everybody? Simon Hannah here. Welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all doing absolutely fantastic. Just for a bit of a different video today, I thought I'd get into talking about like a bit of an issue that's been occurring in fandoms for, I think, ever since 2020 for that matter. May have happened a little bit earlier than that, is the whole toxic fandom that's been occurring for the last few years. But also, I noticed it's been occurring recently with the release of Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and the Mufasa movie, which came out of the Lion King live action movie by Jon Favreau back in 2019. Just to give off my own viewpoints of this, straight off the bat, I do not agree with what the fandom has been doing with on all sides, whether it's been Disney, whether it's been Marvel, whether it's been DC, whether it's been Star Wars, any of that sort of stuff. To me personally, I do not agree with any of the stuff that's been going on in the fandom for God knows how long. I believe that everyone is entitled to their own opinion. Like, having an opinion about one thing that is different to someone else's, that's completely different. That's fine. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion. What I don't like and what I will not stand for is everyone like ripping into another person just because they've got a different opinion to you. That to me is straight up bullying. I do not respect bullies whatsoever. I am entitled to my own opinion. I post up stuff like this about all the stuff that I posted over the last 10 years when I got into doing reviews and stuff, because this is just my own opinion on that sort of thing. Have I got ripped to shreds for any of the stuff I've posted? Not really. Everyone has said, yeah, I didn't enjoy that movie and stuff, and like, that's fine, that's their opinion. But did you see me ripping into them for any of that stuff? No, because that's not who I am as a person. And if I saw anyone getting ripped to shreds like that, I would not stand for that whatsoever. And obviously obviously it has gotten a lot worse with all the stuff that's been occurring for the last few years, with obviously what's happened with Disney and all the other big companies that have had a lot of struggles over the last 5 years. Obviously, the pandemic and the lockdown didn't help in that regard. But you have to kind of remember, of course, going on to the Disney side of things, is they've been through many struggles because of the behind-the-scenes drama that's been happening since 2020, where the leaderships have changed. They had so much content to put out in such a short period of time because of those leadership changes. And it wasn't just them. It was other companies that were going through the exact same struggles as them. Whether it's been Warner Brothers, whether it's been Paramount, any of the other companies that had to put out so much content in a very short period of time, as well as a lot of behind-the-scenes drama that occurred to all of that. Obviously, the pandemic and the lockdown didn't help in that regard. So it's kind of caused a lot of people to dig down into them just because it's not up to their standards. Well, if you were in these situations, what would you do differently? They had to do what was right for them under the circumstances. Now, of course, at the stage with what's going on with Disney, as of the last couple of years, they've slowly started to build their way back up. Obviously, do people want it to happen quicker? Yes. But personally, slow and steady is always going to win the race. I'd rather they just take their time to build things back up to where they need to go, rather than rush it out and it be an absolute disaster. So obviously that's how I feel about that kind of thing. Going on to the DC side of things, I'm just using a few examples here for this video, but going on to the DC side of things, were people ripping into James Gunn because of him taking over DC, because of all the recasting of the actors, essentially kind of rebooting the entire DC universe. Just to get into all the stuff with that, with people saying, why did he fire Henry Cavill? Why did he fire... Let me get into all that. James Gunn had nothing to do with any of that sort of stuff. That was happening before James Gunn got into the picture in the first place. He just saw what was happening with the universe and was like, you know what? This stuff is an absolute mess. I'm just going to restart everything from scratch, because to try and fix this entire universe from where it started originally is just not going to work. They tried to do that, but it hasn't worked out so far. And James Gunn was the one to say Henry Cavill was never hired nor fired to begin with. So that was because of the people behind the scenes and all the behind the scenes drama that was happening with Henry Cavill and the company and everything about the DCEU long before James Gunn came into the picture. James Gunn has made it very clear that he would love to work with the DCEU actors at some point in the future, whether that's going to be working on Elseworlds titles, bringing back the characters for potentially one-off projects, or even bring them back as completely different characters in the universe, as well as doing the Elseworld stories. That's at least my opinion about it. I know he's gonna absolutely crush the DC universe in the best possible way. He's gonna bring it to where it's supposed to be. And based on Creature Commandos, based on the new Superman movie that's going to be coming out this year, by the way, which I did on my previous video. I know he's going to absolutely crush it. I'm so looking forward to what he's going to do. And on the Marvel side of things, they've known about a lot of the mistakes that they've made. They've known that since 2020. They've basically admitted to all those mistakes and admitted what was really going on. Kind of. They admitted to a lot of the mistakes and assured people they're not going to let that happen again. They knew that all the stuff they released over the last few years was not up to their standard, and they're slowly building their way back up. So think of 2020 to where we are now as sort of the rebuilding period, and this one is where things will slowly start to build back up. Some people just recover from the pandemic and the lockdown a lot faster than others. And also on another example of toxic fandom, and just to get into another example on toxic fandom as well, was with The Last of Us Part 2, the video game that is. I know that game was quite controversial, especially considering when the game was released, but also with regards to the character Abby in the game, played by the amazing Laura Bailey, one of the best voice actresses working in the business today. And to see, like, fans, as I like to put it, people just ripping into Laura Bailey for playing a very controversial character in The Last of Us Part 2, that was not on. That, I do not respect that whatsoever. If you were honestly a real fan, you'd separate the actor from the characters they play. Just because they play certain characters in their roles doesn't mean it's a reflection of who the actor is in real life. Like, I've never met Laura Bailey. I would love to meet her in real life. I would love to have her on my channel. And all the actors that I've interviewed over the last 10 years, they are not a reflection of who they are, of who the characters they play are. They are the nicest people I've ever met on the planet. And anybody that does death threats to any of the actors for various characters they played, that proves to me that you're not a real fan whatsoever. I do not respect that kind of thing. Anyway, the point of this video is just to basically get into the whole toxic fandom of it all. Everyone is entitled to their opinion. Everyone is entitled to a different opinion versus another person. If you have a different opinion on one thing versus another person's opinion on the same thing, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But please be respectful of that. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but be respectful of each other's opinion without ripping each other to shreds. And being a fan means that you're passionate about it. I get that. But again, be respectful of one another. Be respectful of the actors in terms of the work they do, and I always go into everything with very little expectations. Because in the words from Spider-Man No Way Home, if you expect disappointment, you won't be disappointed. So I walk into it with very little expectations to everything that I watch, everything that I play, everything that I read, everything in my life, for that matter. But let me know in the comments below, how do you personally feel about, like, the whole fandom, no matter whether it's DC, whether it's Marvel, Star Wars, any of that sort of stuff? How do you personally feel about how it's been over the last couple of years? And what are some ways that you personally want to see that change going forward, especially now in 2025, and since we're out of that pandemic lockdown era? But anyway, sorry to get into a bit of a rant about this. I just thought I'd address all that sort of stuff and just give off my own opinion on the whole thing. But don't forget, I'll be continuing to post up review videos, announcement posts, interviews on my channel, acting videos, and also small little things like this, just explaining about, like, certain concepts and stuff. But let me know in the comments below, how do you feel about, like, everything that's happened over the last few years with regards to anything fandom, for that matter, and also what videos you want me to do on stuff like this in the future. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a great morning, afternoon, evening, depending on where you are in the world. This is Simon, signing off. Bye for now.